apathy of young people, not even desiring to do work, other things going on. So I know you're traveling the country working with schools and school districts and trying to turn around. So I wanted to take today's show to talk about what you see out there that's working.
Mhm.
What do you see? Are these? Can you give a voice to these challenges that people are seeing? Are you seeing the same things?
Yeah, so oftentimes I hear post COVID that our students aren't engaged, they're not focused, they're different. Um, but what what I always tell educators is that you got to come into the room energized and fired up and excited about learning. We've always dealt with Mr. Baxter. You've been in education since forever, right? And
Oh,
so,
Lord.
but we've all encountered kids that had no motivation, that didn't have a why or didn't have a focus, but that educator sparked something in that young person that made them want to, learn. So I think that for the principals and the teachers and the school counselors out there, yeah, we're going to encounter kids that are, they might be a little lethargic, and it might be exasperated now, it might be a little bit more, but at the end of the day, when I travel around the country, when I talk to young people, they still want to be successful. They still want nice things. They still want to have a good life. They still want to be something in life, and they want to have a lifestyle that makes them feel good. So we got to tap into that. We got to tap into that aspect of their lives and say, okay, this is what you say you want, but let me show you through education how you get there. And for real, there's a big attack on education right now, right? It's an attack on education. There's an attack on funding. There's an attack on philosophical beliefs of every student deserves a quality education. Every student deserves high expectations. And it's horrible what we're seeing right now. But as educators, we got to buckle down and find our why and the excitement for the work. I used to say this. People used to say this all the time. Well, you could bring a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. But you can make the horse thirsty. I got to get to the point where I create that culture within my school to make young people wanna learn. And I know that was a
Mhm.
long-winded answer, but
So, what are you seeing as best practices out there? Because I know you work with, principals and that to do school turnaround.
mhm.
But what are you seeing out there of teachers or administrators, schools doing it well,
Mhm.
and your suggestions for those schools who aren't doing it well?
One thing I see, and shout out to Principal Dr. Gonzalez out of Philadelphia. She does something with her students where she has like a mentoring group, and then she has like a leadership group, and she highlights those students who are really showing excellence. And then she, as a principal, with I got another book for teens, and she'll sit down with them and go through those principles in that book for those young people and have them engage in discourse. One of the things that's a best practice is for educators is student voice. It's important that you, as principals and teachers and administrators, you take the opportunity to have a student council, take the opportunity to hear what they are going through in this moment and not make assumptions that you just, because I've been doing schooling for this long, I just know how to do this. As your customers change and evolve, you got to actually spend the time to listen to what they have to say. Another thing to increase motivation is, I had the great privilege to be at Health Science Charter School yesterday, dealing with, working with the wonderful Principal Walls and her team. Is celebrate what you want to see. So essentially, you know, you want to see high success, then you have to then start to discuss successful strategies. So, how are you celebrating high academic achievement? How are you celebrating honor roll? How are you celebrating merit roll? How are you celebrating children that are on the road? Oftentimes, what we see is you have a significant amount of the kids that are just those middle of the road